All right. So I'm enjoying doing these every Sunday. Something about my writing career, hopefully, something that you will watch as a writer, as a reader, as somebody who likes eating pizza. I don't know. I hope people like this. I also hope you like it enough that you hit the subscribe button as well. Today, we're going to talk about beta readers. So, a lot of people are always, I always see posts in different groups, writing groups and whatnot, and everybody's like, "Hey, does anybody have any beta readers I can use?" As if we just like kind of pass them around like cards or something. I have been working with several beta readers for many years now. Um, when I started this full time, 15 years now, I already had a group of about a dozen beta readers that I was using. Now, over the years, they come and go. Sometimes readers will say, "Yeah, you know what? I don't have time," or I'm reading somebody else's, working on somebody else's book right now," or you know, I just don't want to read your books anymore. I hate you. No, I'm just kidding. But most of it is like life stuff, and I get it, 100% get it. I'm always adding new beta readers in every couple years, but as long as I have people that I like to work with, I have people that are enjoying my work, and they're offering me really good criticism on what's happening. So my one prerequisite when I add a beta reader is I don't. I want to know if you like the book or not, obviously, but I don't want you to just tell me how great the book was. I wrote it. I know it's a great book. I know it. I hope it's a great book. How's that? I want to know what's wrong with the book because I would rather five people beta read this book and all say, "Hey, this character is ridiculous," or "This scene makes no sense," or something like that. I would rather have that from five people rather than 5 million potential readers after it's released not like that character or that scene or that situation. So, you know, I want to write a book that every or a story that everybody can enjoy, and it starts with the beta readers. My first reader on most of the stuff I do, not everything, is my wife. My wife is probably my biggest critic when I write stuff because she's a reader. Okay, and so I'll hand her something, and man, that red pen, click, click, click. I hate that. Click, 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 click. Stop with the red pen. She basically marks up those pages like crazy. And so then what I'll do is I will, in the meantime, I've sent it to like four or five, maybe however many, depending on the genre and how long it is. I'll send it to beta readers, and then they will mark it up as well. And I find that my wife isn't really, I mean, she'll find typos and stuff, but that's not her main thing. Her main thing is continuity errors. So, like there was a one of the Dying Days stories where she's like, "Hey, in this, she's wearing a skirt, and now 4 chapters later, she's taking her jeans off or something. That doesn't make any sense." Or I once wrote a book where there was a Russian hitman in it, and later on in the series, she was like, "Oh my god, I love this guy. Yeah, he's great. That's really cool. Except you killed him 2 books ago." I did? Okay, maybe I'll change his name. Something about him. So there's those things that she loves to catch. Um, I have a beta reader that is former military. So I think I've mentioned this before. Uh, I'm not a gun person. I've never owned guns. My dad was in Vietnam. My dad was shot at in Vietnam when I was born. And my mother has a crazy, crazy fear of guns. No guns ever allowed in the house. Me and my brother were never allowed to have guns. We weren't even allowed to have toy guns. My mother would flip if we had toy guns, okay? So I got that unhealthy obsession with, oh, I can't be around guns. Guns are gonna kill me. So as a writer, especially horror, crime fiction and stuff, people have guns. But the only time I've ever held a gun in my hand was a an ex girlfriend. Her father collected guns, and he put a Desert Eagle that he had just purchased in my hand. And that was the first time I'd literally ever had an actual real gun in my hands. And I was like, oh, this is really heavy. And I hand it back to him. I don't want to have anything to do with it. So I've done a lot of research on weapons. I have a couple of really good guides to writing weapons or whatever. But for practical purposes, I've never held a rifle. I've never done any of that stuff. Stop licking yourself all the time. So I have a beta reader who has been with me since the beginning, ex-military, and he will basically rip apart every time I use a gun in a book. And I met him years ago on a message board. You young kids have no idea what that is. About Dean Koontz. And in, I believe it was Phantoms, he uses one of the characters uses a weapon, and he either, I don't remember what the deal was, he either fired too many shots for what that weapon could hold, or it expended shells that it didn't. He wrote something that was wrong. And it was on him because he also had somebody who did weapons. And this guy had brought it up. And I said, hey, I'm writing something with weapons. Would you take a look at it? And he did. And he right away said, no, that's not how that works. That's not because you're going to shoot the gun and you're going to fly backwards 15 feet. That's not realistic. You shooting somebody once in the shoulder is not going to kill them, like those kinds of things. So he's really good at doing that stuff. I have another reader who, she likes all of my stuff, which is always nice, but she's always pointing out, hey, you used this name before, or this plot seems similar to this, whatever. So I get a lot of different things from different people. The one rule that I always have is the beta reader. This is me personally, okay? I know there's going to people going, oh, I don't do that. I don't ever have other writers as my beta readers. And that's from experience, because I found out from doing this for so long, 30 years I've been publishing. A lot of times they're rewriting it in their voice, what they think the book should sound like. And I don't want that. I don't want you to do that. I want you to read it as a reader and give me some suggestions. Offer me goods, bads, the uglies, whatever. I don't want you to go, well, I would write this character this way, and I'm gonna write you up the first 3 chapters. I'm gonna totally rewrite, and I've had that done before in the past. I don't want that. I'm not looking for that. I'm not looking for you to ghostwrite my book. You write your book, okay? I'm looking for, these glasses are filthy. I'm looking for somebody that's going to read my book and tell me what needs to be done with it, okay? I don't need somebody to do a rewrite. So those are big things for me. These are filthy. Filthy with dirt. None of this is getting cut, by the way. No editing. No editing at all. So those are kind of the things. So I get people all the time who are like, hey, if you want a beta reader, and if I don't really know you, maybe I'll give you a short story or something and see what you think of it. I've gotten rid of a ton of beta readers over the years. Honestly, tons. I had a woman once who I put in a book. I'm trying to think. It might have been Keyport Cthulhu or Chelsea Avenue, maybe one of those, set in New Jersey. And one of the characters talks about like 1988 or whatever year it was, and they went to see the Monsters of Rock tour in Giants Stadium. Okay, Van Halen, the Scorpions, Dokken, Metallica, Kingdom Come. I forget who else was on that bill. Anyway, it was a huge, huge concert. I went to it. Me and my buddies actually went to that concert. And I'll never forget the lead singer from the Scorpions kept yelling, New York City! And then we would all yell back in New Jersey. Anyway. And that part of the thing was just like a kind of a minor thing. And this woman Monsters Rock, they only did those tours in Europe and only in 1992, whatever. And she gave me this whole big long thing. And I'm like, No, I actually went to that concert. It's actually, this is the date, and I looked up research. This is the exact date I went. These were the bands, and she was like, "Well, no, that didn't happen." And I was like, "All right, you can argue with me all you want." And then there was another, and she was in Europe, so she would send back, and all of the words would be changed: humor, HUMOR to HUMOUR. She would do the British spelling. She would basically, and I would say to her every time I say, I don't want British spellings because I'm not in Britain. This is not set in Britain. And I so don't do all that, please. But she would do it every time. And then, so I would just ignore that. So what I do now is my wife will get a copy and a bunch of other people. My wife will print it out and she will write all over it. And then I'll throw that on my desk and I don't look at it. I wait till the other ones come back. And then they'll be back with the track changes, okay, with all the markings on the. Then my wife will print all of those. She won't look at them. She just prints them and she brings them. So I might have 3, 4, 5 of them. What I do is I lay them on my dining room table, and I look at the first page on all 5, and I say, okay, there's a typo. All right, and I go back into my office and I fix the typo. Turn all 5 pages, and I go through, and hardly ever does all 5 catch the same thing unless it's a really, really obvious mistake. And then I'll get notes in the margins, and I get comments, and then I'm like, oh, okay, this one person didn't understand this. The other 4 obviously did, and I understand it. I don't think it's hard to understand if you reread what it is. So we're going to ignore that one. Not a problem. Or, hey, these 2 or these 3 or all 5 caught this. It makes no sense to them, so let me rewrite this part. I never have to rewrite the whole thing. There's never a book that I'm like, oh, this is just a bad book, and I have to rewrite the whole thing. But there are parts that I'm like, all right, well, this doesn't make sense, or, oh, I already said this. They already had this argument 5 chapters ago, or whatever. Or on the occasion, the Russian hitman, oh, yeah, I killed him 2 books ago. Maybe I'll need to change this. So there are all those little things that I go through and I kind of get a better idea. Now, as I'm doing that, I'm also reading the book as I'm changing stuff as I get down to, okay, page 4. So I know the first 3 pages I'm reading, and I'm like, is this the best use of words? And I read them out loud too. Nobody's home. It's just me and the cats. And I'm just hanging out and I'm reading out loud. And I think that really also helps me. A lot of times I don't read it out loud when I write the first draft. And I'm a one draft, send it out to beta readers. Okay, I've been doing this a long time. I write a very clean first draft. So when I say typos, you have 200 pages in front of you. If you get 15 typos, that's a lot for me, okay? Because I do this for a living. I'm good at it, okay? Not perfect, never going to be perfect. And I could pick up any of my books right now off the shelf and pull and open up, and I'm sure I'm going to find something wrong with it. That's just the way life works. So for me, I'm going through. I'm doing my second draft on it as I'm doing their corrections, and I'll change stuff. I'll move through the story, and I'll be like, let me punch up this scene a little bit, or this really. When I did the first draft on this, I kind of ran through this, and I knew they were going to pick it apart, and then nobody picks it apart. And I'm like, I just don't like it. I'm going to do a little bit of rewriting here. So that's kind of how I get through the whole book. Book is done. I've gotten 3 to 5 beta readers on it, including my wife. I do all the changes, clean it up. Everything's good. I'll sit on it for a couple of days. I do one more read through. Maybe I find another typo or something. Usually it's good. Send it off to the editor. And basically, she usually finds 3 or 4 more things that could be done. And it's normally, hey, in this chapter 15, this character says this, and it's a little bit ambiguous. Can we punch this up a little bit? Because she's read and edited my stuff for so many years, for so long. And sometimes I'm like, no, I think it's good enough. But sometimes I'm like, you know what, you're right. And I do a little quick rewriting of it, send it back to her. She continues on with the book, and that's it. And then that book is ready. That book is ready to rock. That book is ready to be published. and make me billions and billions and billions of hay pennies if I'm lucky. So that's kind of my thing. So the main thing for me, to summarize, here's my AI summary without using AI. No, thank you. My wife's my first reader, 3 to 5 beta readers. None of them can be writers. I keep an open mind when I'm reading through their notes and whatnot to make sure that I can make the best book. So, you drop the ego, you leave the ego at the door. Isn't that the saying? I don't know, whatever else young kids say now. And people are giving me advice on this. I'm asking you to read a book for free. I'm asking you to spend hours of your time reading this book for me. And I want to know your opinion on it. I want you to read it before anybody else reads it. And so for me, that's important, that to get that feedback is so important, because if I did not get any of that feedback and I just sent it to the editor, maybe it wouldn't be as good of a book. She'd still find all the typos. She'd still ask questions, but maybe she wouldn't ask the questions that the readers would ask. And then the readers would be asking those questions in a 1-star, 2-star, 3-star review. 1 fish, 2 fish, blue fish, green fish. Not being edited. All right, so that's that. If you like this video and you watch all of my other videos, like how I write 400,000 words a year, on and on, hit the subscribe button. Make a comment. Tell me you agree with me. Tell me you don't agree with me. Tell me your way you do beta readers. Don't give me your opinion on what I'm doing wrong. I don't care. I'm not doing anything wrong. Whatever your thing is, go for it. Whew! I need something to drink. Actually, I need a nap. Thank you very much for hanging out with me and watching all my YouTubes. Every Sunday, I'm going to have a video like this, as long as I can come up with some ideas. If you have an idea, question that you want me to answer, then do me a favor, drop a note or send me an email, armandrosamilia@gmail.com. And don't use AI when you write that, or it automatically gets deleted. Otherwise, I appreciate all of the support and building up this YouTube channel. I also, just so you know, I write live on YouTube Live, on Twitch, and now on Kick. Every Monday, every Wednesday, every Friday at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. A lot of times I start at noon Eastern Standard Time, and I'll write for 2 straight hours. And then I love to talk to people in the chat. So if you have any questions, comments, concerns, you can be on there and you could ask questions and whatnot from there. I really appreciate it. And that's it. I appreciate you popping in. I appreciate everything that you do.